Well, my fellow gamers, gather round and let Reggie spill the beans on New World's Rise of the Angry Earth expansion. This right here is what we've all been waiting for, or at least that's what Amazon Game Studios wants us to believe. So does Angry Earth bring New World back to that euphoric beginning, or is it the beginning of the end for this roller coaster of an MMO? Well, grab yourself a cuppa and let's have a chat in today's semi-review. And why is it a semi-review, you ask? Well, we've got to have a bit of integrity here. Sure, I can throw a score your way based on my day one antics, but truth be told, unless you've hit level 65, tamed every beast in sight, finished the epic tower, and mastered every trade skill in the book, no reviewer, not even old Reggie, can give you the real deal score. It's a bloody marathon of gaming commitment, so take what I say today with a huge pinch of salt and check back in a few weeks for the whole enchilada. Now, what do you get for your hard-earned $30? Well, the big ticket item here is, of course, the introduction of mounts. Amazon Game Studios finally threw us a bone, letting us prance around on our trusty steeds from level 25 onwards. Sounds smashing, right? Well, hold on to your horses, because the way they introduced this exciting new feature is a right bloody mess. Firstly is how you go about getting a mount, a basic quest that involves going to a cave, picking a seed and feeding it to a bloody stray horse. Not exactly groundbreaking, my pedigree chums, but whatever. The worst part though is the manner in which you go about increasing your horse riding skill. Now picture a room full of Amazon's finest game brains brainstorming the most mind-numbing horse riding quests ever conceived. Let's have them gallop from point A to point B 5 times over, one person says. And then once they do that, let's make them do it all over again, but in a different land. Why stop there, Jeff? Let's throw in a third round of the same old bollocks. It's like they took a page out of the ancient art of gang torture. Now, don't get me wrong, the mounts look spiffy and they move pretty damn well for an MMO, but there is a catch. Have you ever seen a horse turn skits? Well, get ready for that experience when you press the jump button. I've also seen horses already turned into glue as other players skate across the world in their dead zombie-esque mounts. They did, however, now the speed, and I was a little bit worried about how fast these bloody things go, and for me it's just right. There's a dash button that can be upgraded as you complete the quest torture of gaining riding skill. Newcomers might find it a bit of a struggle to farm and mine materials as horses bombard a resource rich location, but I'm pretty sure that will die down soon enough. What does piss me off though is the lack of variety in the mount skins. It's a clone factory out there, and for my $30 I was hoping for a bit more variety. Instead, those Amazon put about 10 skins behind some ludicrous pricing, which stinks when you consider just how much you put down for some DLC. Next up, we've got Elysian Winds, or Elysian Winds, not sure how to say it, but this is the new land that you get to explore. And oh boy, it is a sight for sore eyes, my friends. Purple hues, tall trees, and a fantasy vibe that hits the spot. I love the scale of the tall trees and the colour palette they've used of purple and pastel hues. I want my fantasy game to look like a bloody fantasy game, and they have certainly delivered here. What's more, within this huge new land, there are different biomes. So you got this fantasy type biome full of foreign looking trees and bushes. You then got this jungle type land here that you can see, and even a bit of a beach complete with stone ruins to contend with. Initial impressions here are good, and I absolutely can see myself completing all of the quests here, as it's a great place to hang out in. But, and there is always a but, the initial questing. Lackluster is how I would best describe it. The basic premise is that an aggressive entity is causing the earth to get damn bloody angry, and it's pissing off the natives as a consequence. Now, I can only speak for the early mob types, but so far they've lacked any new ideas or skills here, and they play and look very similar to anything else in the game. I honestly thought Brimstone Sands had more interesting mobs to start with, but it's the quests that feel stifled, as if it's been pulled straight from the beginner's handbook of MMO cliches. Basically, it's read this, plant that, kill these, collect this. It's the same old song and dance, lacking any spark or innovation that we come to expect from a modern day MMO. As for other additions, we have new level caps. Leveling up to level 65, well, that's easier than snagging sweets from a baby. It's a breeze, and already I've seen multiple level 64s just 5 hours into the game. Reggie was already halfway through level 61, and I wasn't even playing with purpose to get leveled up. My fear then is that a lot of these quests are once again going to be wasted, just like the base game, where so much of their hard work with fully voice acted quests got lost in the drive to level 60. Other things I've noticed is skins on weapons and armour. At last we have a bit of variety here, and in particular this musket reward that I got and this helmet reward I thought looked pretty good. I'm also a big fan of the new weapon type, the flail, that has a nice sense of speed and weight to it, so I'll be looking more into that. And yes, there is an increase in trade skills and also your attributes. Now this is obviously an early assumption for me, but my concern is that Brimstone Sands was free content that was as big as Elysian Wilds and had as many good quests. It also had some wonderful bosses and some chest runs. The first time I entered Brimstone Sands, I was actually quite wowed by it all. What with the city, that massive bloody sandworm, and the scale of the pyramid. I've not had that same sense here, that same wow moment, that same realisation that there is huge content that waits before me, which, considering that was free, makes this one a little bit worrisome that they're charging $30. But again, I must emphasise, this is day one. So here's the deal, my friends. If you're already balls deep in New World, this DLC might tickle your fancy, giving you more hours of gameplay and a new set of wheels. But for those thinking of diving into this MMO for the first time, hold your horses. Give the base game a whirl first. You can look at my review of what I think of that one, see if it hooks you, and maybe, just maybe, consider this DLC down the line. Amazon's always got a sale going on, so it's a good time to jump into New World, so make a call later on the expansion as more playthroughs continue from us content creators. But this expansion right now doesn't seem to be the saving grace that we were hoping for in terms of new players, at least not yet. Is this going to save the MMO? The jury is still out, but right now I'm just a little bit worried by how this content is being delivered us after so much fanfare. Until next time, my lovelies, Reggie out.